Good afternoon, it's me again. I'm at a Dji place in Kent today, visiting a church. Now, it's nothing to do with tractors, I know, but it's a wonderful place. It's got loads of history. I'm going to speak to Colin in a minute, and he's going to tell us all about it. But and then I'll put the drone up when we see it from the top, and I can hear a tractor in the background, so I apologise for that. To my regular viewers, I want to apologise again. I've been off for a little while. I've had a bit of sickness last week, and this week I've got some work to do. So anyway, onwards and upwards. Hope you enjoy this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up for me, and if you haven't already, give it a subscription. The button's just here, not that far away, and help me out and help the channel out. Thanks ever so much then. Cheerio for now. Well, here we are. Now there's some weird stones at this church, and it's something to do with paganism or something that Colin tells me. He's going to tell us all about it in a minute, but I'm going to go into the inner sanctum of the stones, and there's a hole drilled in one of them, and apparently when the pagans used to meet each other, they used to put their arms through the stone and greet each other. So as I say, I'll give you a quick look at it now, but Colin will come down and give us the full story in a minute. Okay.
Occasionally something doing a couple, but it's rare.
And here we are in the church. We're meeting Colin, who's going to give us a once over and tell us the history of the church. And of course, we can't forget also the owner of the church, who upkeeps it and dressed it up for today. Especially for me, I'd say, but I'm afraid there's another film crew before me. Yeah. So I will get Colin to give us some words of wisdom.
Oh, this will be good.
Oh.
Colin,
yes.
Tell us a little bit about the church, as you know all about it.
Well, it's believed to have been built thereabouts 1100.
Yep.
On a pagan site, where on the chancel floor you can feel the energy of the ley line, a couple of 100 feet in depth.
Yep.
To the water, and the ley line is 11 miles east as far as a well in a field at Thurnham.
Okay.
And it passes other ancient sites on its way at Snodland, Aylesford, on its way over towards Detling.
Okay. The name of the church for our viewers?
Dode.
And that name comes from?
Dode Circa.
Okay.
Was its full name. It was here a long time ago, of course, and closed in 1367 because of the lack of people. Really? By order of the bishop. There's a plaque out on that wall.
Yep.
That tells you. Have you seen it?
No, I should take a view of it in a minute.
Right.
Yep.
It was bought in 1901 by George Matthews Arnold as a ruin, and he restored it between 1904 and 5 to its present day look. Okay.
And can we go up to the altar and you can tell us all about what I call the altar? It's probably not though, isn't it?
Well, there is an altar up there. This is a replacement altar.
Okay. Let me just...
This is the rebuilt chancel arch on the old foundations. You can see the tufa stonework below either side. There's a rough stone, and there are pieces throughout the walling. There's tufa at the side of the window in the chancel. Window there, the two places, and behind you in the nave, over yonder. And you can see the restoration took place after.
And you was telling me about we'll get onto that in a minute, the upstairs.
Oh.
But we'll concentrate at the moment.
Well, this is the replacement altar. And it was sympathetically
Restored.
There are 5 crosses upon it. This one's damaged, one in the middle, and the 2 others. In 1904 by Arnold. And the ombre cupboard was put in the wall. There was a hole there for it.
And why is the name Albright? Sorry.
It's to do with the holy wine and oils that were kept there.
Yeah.
There would have been a piscina the other side where the priest could rinse his hands, and it would drain into the floor of the church.
Okay.
So that anybody that was not a Christian couldn't get their hands on it.
Yeah. Oh, so especially for him.
Yes.
Himself.
That's right.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And the as you say, it's all dressed up at the moment.
Well, that's right.
Because of filming, but
yes, it keeps it from being echoey.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I love the hops because I've done many a hop video, and
right. And the
hops are Kent, aren't they?
Yes, that's right.
You know, you can't talk about Kent without hops, can we, really?
That's right.
So anyway, going back to the history of you was telling me in 1904 it was rebuilt.
It was, yes, it was. It was built up because it was a ruin for 650 years. After 1367, it was closed, and it seemed that other people wanting building materials came along and bought various points of the structure.
I suppose you call that early recycling, don't you, really?
This east end was taken right down to this beam. You can see with the ancient plaster on the wall either side, and that's all been renewed in between 1904 and 5.
Really?
That was the lowest end of where they could get at it. The west end, being the taller, they were unable to take so much material away.
Okay.
It wouldn't have been stolen, it was sold by the then owner, who didn't want the building anyway.
Okay, not a folly or anything like that, just...
No.
Okay.
No.
But
it was a ruin on a field.
Okay.
As I say, for 650 years.
Okay.
And the energy spot is on the floor where you can stand
Really?
1 metre off the top step and relax your arms to the side, and you may feel tingling in the fingers from the magnetic pull of the water a couple of 100 feet below.
Well, that's fantastic. You've experienced that yourself?
I have.
Oh, I shall have to have a go at that then later.
Many other people. But when the rainfall is low, then the water is also low, and it's not so prickly on the fingers.
Okay, so it's definitely on a holy place anyway.
Yes, it's on a ancient worshipped place.
Okay, and you was telling me about the east and west of the church. It's quite significant.
Well, yes, the chancel is always in the east, and the nave is in the west of the church. And so if they add a tower, it's on usually the west end, either south or west, or right on the end itself.
That's the bell tower, obviously.
That's right.
Yeah, and we haven't got a bell tower.
No, because it didn't. It was finished by 1367, and they were building towers as from that date. There are some early ones in Kent, like West Kingsdown.
Okay.
But not many.
Okay. So when did the present owner?
1991.
And he's looked after it ever since, and he's maintained it into a good standard of.
He applied for a civil marriage licence, which he got by 99.
Yep.
And he's been doing civil ceremonies ever since.
Okay. You was telling me also about the seating positions back in the olden days. Yeah, if you can run through that for us.
The chancel was the sanctuary.
Okay.
Only the priest was permitted in this area. The people were in the nave, and it's believed that this bench around the wall was for the peasants. To sit upon.
Okay.
Rather than having stalls, they could come in here with their animals, whatever, their pets rather.
Yeah.
And they could nod off this way in the church.
Because you wouldn't have had the actual stalls here in those days then, would you? It was just the brickwork round the...
That's right, yes. We seem to think that there may have been a fire in the centre as the priest lived in here.
Yeah. So in the centre of the church itself...
At the nave floor.
The nave. Sorry, I do...
The nave floor.
Okay.
And
you got these both sides, obviously?
Yes, yes. Slightly running downhill, and there's nothing very square about the building.
No. So why not indeed?
And over on the walls, there's a cemented up hole here, and one here, likewise on the other side, and there must have been a huge loft going across here that you could walk under to open the gates to enter the chancel.
Oh, yeah.
And it's believed that the priest lived upon the loft.
Well, funny if you say, when you look back in history, they obviously not the priest or the church, but the animals lived on the lower floor.
Oh yes.
And the people lived on the above. So the heat for the animals, it's like central heating, warmed up the people upstairs.
Well, we have a house down in Ludsdown like that, Ludsdown Court.
Okay.
The Great Hall is above, and the animals came in below.
Yeah, well.
And that's 1,000 years old, that house.
Bit smelly, I suppose, with the animals down below, but anyway.
People were used to smells in the old days.
Yes.
Even themselves, because there was a lack of water in this locality.
Yes.
Only from wells, deep wells.
Okay. That's fantastic. And you was going to tell me a little bit about...
Well, the way the priest locked himself in, he pushed the door to, and he pulled this beam out behind the door.
Oh my God.
And locked himself in. You couldn't use that if you left the building.
So that's fantastic. Oh, that's a bit of history there all on its own.
Yes,
there, really, isn't it?
It is.
So the door would be slammed,
Yes,
and the beam would be
door
pulled
fits
out.
here,
So-
I could do that today and lock us in the church, but you wouldn't be able to get out.
Well,
But likewise,
at some time,
if you left the church, you
Yep.
wouldn't be able to lock it either. So somebody would have had to have been present
okay.
for the priest.
That's fantastic.
Because there wasn't a manor house at the side.
No. No. So, and above we've got the place for the audience.
Well, that's for up. They got the civil.
Are you going to shut the door as well for me?
Yeah, there's a civil marriage license certificate on the back of the door.
Oops, that's... Oh, here we go. Good work, Colin.
And that goes right across.
That's an amazing...
And it fit into that hole there.
A little nook there.
Yep.
We're locked in here now, Colin.
We could be.
I'm sure we're not. There you go. I'm in awe of all your knowledge about the place.
This was put in to accommodate Portaloo,
Okay.
which is for the celebrant and registrar that take the proceedings here.
Yeah.
The gallery above is for musicians, singers, photographers.
And video makers.
Yes, and the operator of the owl. That owl brings the rings down to the best man.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. But there's a real one that takes its place. And I'm not kidding.
No, I bet you're not, Colin. We just have a quick...
That will fly down over the crowd and to the best man, and he gives the appropriate rings to the bride and groom.
I love the atmosphere, and it's such a warm feeling within the church, a welcoming feeling, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
You walk into some church and you get this ghostly feeling, but with this one, perhaps it's because of the...
Yeah. Well, they're warm-looking colours, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's not black,
Okay.
it's not whitened walls. It's all honey-coloured, and people seem to like it.
Yes,
The last thing they're thinking of is spiders, but there must be plenty of them in here.
So, shall we take a walk down to the stones? You're going to tell us a little bit about the stones, aren't you, Colin?
Can do.
So anyway, we're outside now, Cole.
Yes, this plaque, which is now on the churchyard wall, was on the wall of the church.
Okay.
But the vandals knocked the supports out from under the plaque, and it fell and was broken. But we happened to have a photograph of it, and it was recut by a monumental mason. And here it is. If you come in here,
Let's see if I can...
you can see a great deal of it.
Let's get the light and sorted.
Yes.
Thank you, Cole.
That's that there. And people don't realise it's there now because
No, I
the
bet they don't.
trees growing in. The door has been put back sympathetically, 1904.
Yep.
But inside, the door would have been a taller one originally.
Yeah.
It's said to be as tall as that because one of the church, what do we call them, the church staff,
Yep.
would have during Easter brought a ceremonial cross into the church.
Oh, yeah.
Which would have been quite enormous, and
Yep.
would have turned round and come back out without doing themselves any mischief, as these steps were here. Some churches have a door the other side so that the cross can pass right through the building.
This is history, as we all know. These places I've forgotten about.
The building was rendered completely outside and inside and whitened for purity.
Really?
Would have been seen right down the valley.
Fantastic.
Round here you can see the scaffold holes. There's one there. See the scaffold hole?
Yes.
In there. Another one there. Another one there. And they're further up the building. And they're lower the building. There's one there. When the scaffolding's taken down and then they're plugged, the holes.
Because they didn't have scaffold poles as we know them today.
Oh no, they were timber.
Timber.
Big timber, round poles.
Yep. And we were going into the garden now, and you was telling me all about the stones.
Well,
now, obviously, it's something to do with paganism, and
yes, it
before
is.
church began.
Yes, the types of people that are being wed here have their own beliefs and faith.
Yep.
And had they been Church of England Christians, they'd be married in their own church. But here, they like the atmosphere and the freedom of doing as they like for the day.
Yep.
And these stones were put in for those that like a dance round the stones.
Oh, really?
They're Kentish rag.
Yep.
They came up from a quarry near Maidstone, and the central one has got a bore through the middle so that the bride and groom can acknowledge one another during their ceremony.
So tell me all about that. So they put their arms through the...
Well, they have a shaman who takes a little proceeding.
Yep.
And this is where you can pass I put my hand through so that you can see it's done quite comfortably.
Oh yeah.
And they
formally accept their marriage to each other, don't they?
Yes.
Does this date back a long time?
Oh no, it's about 5 years old.
Oh, okay, so it was built
fairly modern
for the ceremonies anyway.
Yes, for the modern people.
Oh, okay.
Who like to have a dance around. Very often they're barefooted, but many of the couples are not altogether English people. They're coming from all over the world.
Okay.
And they thoroughly enjoy themselves.
Well, thank you, Colin. Thank you for your explanation of their lovely church and the history lesson I've had. And I'm going to fly the drone up now and we'll get an aerial shot of it all.
Yeah.
Any last comments before we go?
Well, I hope whoever sees it enjoys it.
Yeah.
And we shall see yet more people. Every time I come here, there's different people waiting at the gate.
Exactly.
And have been over the years.
Well, thank you very much then.
Okay.
Cheers, Colin.
Right, you're welcome.
Well, here we are with Doug, the owner. Tell us how you come across this church then, Doug.
Well, I read about it in an article probably 50 years ago when I was sort of in my mid-20s. I tried to find it, never could. 30 years ago I found out that there was a church for sale to be turned into a house in the North Downs of Kent. I drove up here to have a look at it, and 3 days later I owned it. Simple. Impulse buy.
Impulse buy.
Impulse
do
buy.
you regret it, or you?
Could you regret owning this?
You couldn't. You can't. And the way you've maintained it in them years is, you've done a fantastic job. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what have you done and keeping the history alive, really.
Well, it's simple. It's been good fun.
It's been good fun. And you obviously make money out of it at the moment.
A little.
You rent it out.
We hire it out for weddings, for funerals, for memorial services. We name children. We do anything a church will do, an established church, but we don't have any religion here at all. We don't mind whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're pagan, whether you're Buddhist. Everybody's welcome because it's a sacred place.
And they can contact you through
dodevillage.com.
And that's your website.
That's simple.
And all the contact details are on there?
They're all on there.
It's fantastic. Thanks ever so much for letting me walk around your church.
You're more than welcome.
It's been a very good experience for me today. Thanks ever so much. Cheerio
Cheers.
for now then.
Bye, bye-bye.
Well, there you go. Something interesting. Colin's give you a good description there, and hope you enjoyed it. It's a real piece of history. If you get a chance, come down and have a look at it. It's worth a view. And the owner, Doug, he's a really nice gentleman. We're going to have a chat to him in a minute, and Colin will give you the history about it. But thanks ever so much for coming along. I really appreciate it. As I say, hit that like button for me and subscribe. Until for now, have a great life. Cheerio. Well, thanks for coming along with my videos. I hope you enjoyed that. It's something really historic. I know it's not about tractors or farms, but it's in Kent, and I love the countryside in Kent. There's so much hidden history, and this is one of it, what we are. I'm leaning up against one of the stones behind me now. Whether I'll get any funny feelings or not, I don't know. But thanks a lot for coming along. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, which the button is, I think, just about here. Anyway, see you again. Cheerio for now.